Guys, welcome back to another video. Now, I know it's been a little bit since I posted again, but basically I was on vacation for a week and I wanted to get the 4-speed setup in the Camaro. That way I could start making some content on it. So let me show you guys what I've done so far. So as you guys know, I had a M21 that I got off of a guy for a second-gen Camaro, and let me tell you what, guys, it was definitely a experience trying to get this in. There were a lot of modifications I had to make to get the transmission itself to hook up. As you guys know, my dash is actually a custom dash that I did, since the original one was just so beaten to death and torn apart that I basically went with an old school kind of flat dash design. But getting this clutch pedal in was a little bit of a trick with being able to get the rod linkage going through the firewall. I ended up having to go through and actually drill a new hole for the rod to go through to actually go into the rest of the linkage underneath the car for the M21. But basically now everything is all set to go. It's driving really good. Had a little bit of some issues with the flywheel, since the flywheel I had on it was internally balanced, and the one that you need to make this work against the big block needs to be externally balanced. So we were able to overcome that, and everything was able to pretty much bolt up relatively easy. Everything went right with everything going wrong, just because there were a lot of little modifications I had to make here and there. But at the end of the day, we were able to get it in and get it all situated. What we're going to be working on is basically, since the carpet is all torn up in the Camaro itself, I want to go ahead and take the seats out of it. I'm actually going to be laying new carpet. I actually got this carpet from Walmart. It's a 5x7 roll. Now, excuse me for kind of doing the redneck build here, but not too long ago I had a 1986 F250, and I actually did the same thing where I used a carpet roll from Walmart to actually reline the carpet for it, and it actually came out pretty decent. So my outlook is, even if it doesn't come out as good as I would want it to, it's better than having a huge hole in the floor, and it's just going to look better than what it is already. And so I'm ready to basically get the stock carpet that comes in these cars and getting the boom mat and just everything to actually overhaul the interior when that does come. What I want to do is I want to make a shift boot for the manual transmission, since I don't have the stock one or anything that can work. So I actually got this kind of leather fabric alligator skin. I really don't know what to call it, but I got this pretty decently sized roll for it, and I want to see if I can make my own shifter boot. I've always wanted to do that, so we're also going to be working on that today. But let's start with taking these seats out. Once these are out, then we're going to actually start with the tearing out of the carpet and seeing how the new one's going to fit over it. Once they're out, I'm going to get the bottom of the seat belt just kind of out of the way, hanging out of the car. And then I'm going to take the center console I made for the radio out, and for the most part it'll be a bare platform to try and form the new carpet over, and hopefully it will come out the way that we're hoping for. I think when I go to take up some of this carpet, a lot of it's pretty much still going to be glued down from the last restoration this had however many years ago, but either way it's going to look better than what it does now, and then we'll also get to work on the shifter boot when all the carpet is done and formed. It's now separated from the sound dampening that they have from the factory. Original carpet is over there. There's the new one. So my next challenge is going to be getting all these curves and getting my cuts right to where it's going to form correctly without seeing any of the seams, and then we'll go from there. And we were able to get the other carpet out as well. Now we're actually working with the new carpet that we're going to put in. This is going to be the center console. We're going to put the radio console here, and then I'll end up working on making the boot. So this is the only scene I'm going to have to worry about covering, but so far it's coming along pretty good. For the most part, we got the carpet formed. I'm going to end up trying to drill the new holes for the seats to go back through. We're going to get the seats in here. I still got to work on covering the seam in the back here. If anything, if the carpet didn't fit up front, I definitely want to have at least the overhang in the back, since I didn't have any more carpet to get. But we're going to make all that look good. That won't be too bad trying to get, and plus you won't see much of it anyway. I'm going to end up putting floor mats in the front, so that'll also help hide a lot of the seams. It's not a perfect job, and this is only the second time I've actually used a legitimate carpet to do it, but I could not stand looking at the old carpet that was in this car. I mean, it just did not look good at all. Also, I did my best to try and make a shifter boot. This is the first time that I've done one, and I didn't have a way of really getting the stock shifter boot for it because of where I had to drill the new holes to actually get the transmission in. But I mean, for the most part, I kind of like it. I like being able to make stuff instead of going out and buying it. I like doing things on a budget. And honestly, when it comes to little stuff like this, guys, Like, I could go out and actually buy a legitimate shifter boot that would probably work, but I don't know, there's just something about making your own car parts and making stuff work that just gives it your own little bit of a touch. I mean, as you guys can see, I mean, everything in this car is pretty much just done on a redneck budget and with redneck skills, I guess. You know, I'm definitely not trying to say I'm the best or this is how you should restore cars. This is just how I personally like to do it. A lot of the times I like to focus on just the mechanical workings and doing that the right way, and then when it comes to interiors and how a car looks, I pretty much just do whatever I feel like would look good or what I personally like. But I gotta get this center console mounted. It's going to mount to the same original bolts that the original console actually mounted to, which is going to be really easy. Those are right there. The shifter itself, I actually want to get a sideways old school shifter for it, and that'll look good. Just kind of clean this up. Once we get the seats in, it's pretty much done for today. So I'll skip ahead to when we got it pretty much all back together.